Hey everyone, Sirturmund here. This time I'm bringing you a deck that started being popularized by our friend Broken Bull. He's a player from the European region who started playing a lot of Tristana. So this deck is kind of inspired by him, and it's very similar, I guess, to the list that I've seen him run, and I've seen other people trying to experiment with the Tristana. So the whole point of this deck is that you're doing Tristana, Fae, Yordle, Swarm, right? So we're taking the tools from Bandle City that allow us to like swarm the board and buff our units, and combining them with the tools from the Demacia that would allow us to do stuff like rally and protect some of our units with ranged results to just be able to completely overwhelm the opponent, right? So obviously, there's two things in this deck. You have two cards that can reduce the cost of your units. Bandle City Mayor reduces the cost of your yordles by 1. Gleaming Lantern reduces the cost of your faes by 2, allowing you to quickly, very quickly, swarm the board faster than your opponent can respond and survive. The second thing that this deck has is ways to buff the small yordles and the small faes to really become a big threat with their power, right? So we have Grandfather Fae, which buffs any phase that gets summoned by +1, and we have Tristana, which buffs any multi-region ally that you summon by +1 as well. And if she's leveled up, even gives them impact, right? So both of those power buffs are able to take stuff like take things like the telescope, the blasting seedling, and other of our 2 power units to become 3 or even 4 power, meaning that the opponent has to trade with them, right? Otherwise, they're going to be taking too much damage to the Nexus. So that's kind of the whole idea of this deck. You swarm and buff your units to be able to overwhelm the opponent. We even have Yordle in arms as another win condition that once you have a pretty big wide board because of how swarmy this deck is, you can use Yordle in arms and even combining with golden aegis to be able to have like a super big finishing turn, right? The rest of the deck kind of builds around supporting these win conditions, right? So Yuumi is a nice card, by the way, because Yuumi you can put it on like it gets discounted by the Gleaming Lantern, right? It's also a unit that continuously grow. You don't have to always attach her. You can just summon her as she is, and because she's continuously growing, she still becomes a bigger and bigger threat that the opponent has to deal with. We only run 2 Yuumis, by the way, because usually seeing 2 Yuumis in your hand tends to be pretty bad. So 2 Yuumi, I think, is the perfect number of Yuumis to run in any Yuumi deck. Because seeing 2 Yuumis in your hand is really bad and kind of, a downside of this card. Again, the rest of the cards are supporting that win condition, right? So Teemo, ship unit that also levels up Tristana or gets buffed by Tristana as well. Blast Conceding is both a Fae and a multi-region ally, so it's able to get buffed by Grandfather Fae plus the Tristana, and it's also able to give you Barrier, which can be very powerful because it can stop some of the opponent's aggression if you need it. Obviously, Telescope is so good because, again, it's also a Fae and a multi-region ally, and it's also able to give you another multi-region ally on top of that. We talked about Mayor and Lantern, right? They provide so much value. Mayor is pretty good because it gives you another unit as well, and Lantern is so good because you're discounting your phase by 2. Just be careful when you have 2 of them in the board at once. If you want to be able to take like full advantage of having both of them at once, you always want to start out with your multi-region ally that is not a Fae, so that you use up the Bandle Mayor skill first, and then you do your Fae to use up the Green Lantern skill. And then we do have some removal too, right? So because of how popular Gnar is, Buster Shot is so good because he's able to kill Gnar when he comes down. He's able to kill the teeny Dactyl before he transforms. And then like we talked about, we have the combo with Golden Aegis, so you're now to just finish games because of how wide your board is. And we have Sharp Sight to be able to save your units and be able to block elusives, and Pokestick because of the Pokestick's just so good, right? What Bandle City deck would not play Pokestick? And lastly, we do have 2 Face Sprouts, right? Because we do have the Gleaming Lantern. Usually the 1 mana that you spend for Face Sprout ends up not being that big of a deal. We also have Mayor, so usually a lot of the Face tend to be multi-region as well, so you can also just summon something and discount it with the City Mayor. So really fun deck. It plays like a really classic Demacia deck. Kind of plays a little bit like a combination of like think of like Scouts where you're going wide and buffing stuff with like for Demacia. Instead we have Yordle in arms and Rally, right? And we have a big threat in Tristana that the opponent needs to answer because Tristana just gives you so much value, right? So it can be even better than Misfortune in certain scenarios. So yeah, hope you enjoyed the games. And remember, if you like the content, please remember to subscribe below. It really helps out a lot. And I'll see you all at the end of the video. Have a good one. Well, in this matchup, we'll be going up against Ahri Lulu. So this is the deck that Tyrion made last season. where you're really just doing your Lulu and your Chumpers combo, right? With the Ahri as well. So how do we make sure that things survive? How do we make sure that our things survive? I think double fate is a little bit too greedy. I don't mind keeping one sharp side at least though, to be able to defend against some things. Yuumi's kind of funny. Don't know if Yuumi's actually able to do a lot though. I think we get, actually, we should probably use summon Teemo there, right? Alright, let's do it. We'll do the Teemo now. Let's get our 1 damage in. Also gives us a blocker for the Sunny Urchin, because at the end of the day, this deck is trying to burn you down. I mean, I guess not burn you down, but like rush you down before you can do anything. So at least Teemo kind of gives me a nice blocker that we can do in the Sunny Urchin. He discarded. Oh. I guess we'll just do the Grandfather Fade. Just call it a day. I don't think we need to do anything else. I mean, if he wants to do this, I think we're just gonna race him down, right? So we're gonna race him down. Let's do the Hungry Alcan and the Blast Conceding, and can kind of go from there. Because he's gonna have to block here, right? Because this is gonna be doing 3 damage to him. I guess he can just do that as well. I like giving the impact. I like making him have to block. We could have given this the barrier instead, which I guess could have been a consideration. But this is pushing a lot of damage. He can block that with the Sunny Urchin, or he can block the other way, but he cannot block both. Like, he cannot... I guess he could block both if he just sacrifices his Ahri. If he sacrifices his Ahri, I'm okay with that. Okay, he can just have Mystic Shot as well. I always forget about the Mystic Shot. Because like we just talked about, this is kind of like more like an aggro deck more than anything else. We do have the Sharp Side, which is exactly what we kept it for, so that we can actually kill the Ahri here if he gets greedy. Yeah, I guess now we can't do that anymore. If we put this on the Teemo is gonna die, right? Dawn Speakers is kind of funny. I think it has to be Bomber Twins, right? Moon Silver is not a bad idea because it allows us to kind of do a surprise rally play, but I think it has to be Bomber Twins. Our hand is pretty awkward. The good thing is that this becomes a great blocker. He decides not to go after the Teemo. So I guess we can just do the Teemo next turn then, right? We are kind of running low on health, unfortunately. We are kind of running low on health. Oh, this is great. Because now it allows me to do the Yuumi as well for reduced costs. He could have get excited, right? Which is the one thing that punishes this play. That's a deny that he just discarded there. I wonder, I don't think I'm supposed to attack with everything, guys. I think I'm supposed to keep this here back as blockers. Kind of go from there. Teemo's gonna be 5. Teemo's gonna be pretty, like, he's gonna be 5 attack and 5 HP next turn, so he needs to be worried about Teemo here. Teemo's level up, which means that we can also double up the shrooms. I guess he already committed 1 Mystic Shot, right? He could still have more burn. We have the Rally next turn as well. He's gonna do the suit up here. Okay. I think I'm fine. I still have enough blockers for everything. Like I said, we also have the Golden Aegis now, and we saw that he discarded a freaking Rally, which is huge. He only has 5 attackers. We have enough blockers for everything. We can even use the second Yuumi if we need to. But we have enough here to do like a Sharp Side plus a Rally. I guess the problem is that he is keeping 6 mana, right? So it's very likely that he could just have... It is very likely that he could just have, like, the Deny or the Homecoming. So I guess we won't be able to actually take advantage of this. Sure, we'll do this. We'll do this. We'll do this. Guess we can block right here instead. Blocks 1 more piece of damage. Because we can always kill the Lulu with the Buster Shot. Oh yeah, he's gonna go for lethal here. That tells me that he has the get excited. He could also just have another twin, right? If he has another twin, we just lose anyways. But at least this will be protect against, you know, like... I guess we don't protect against anything here, huh? Yeah, if he has it, he has it. If he has to get excited, then we just lose, right? He could easily have it. A bunch of stuff that we lose to here. I think I want to keep the sharp side in my hand. Yeah, if he has to get excited, it could also be like something like Homecoming. That would also be a problem for us. Yeah, it has to be something like Homecoming or a way to kill the Teemo. Wow, it doesn't have it, so now he just dies to triple shroom. Glascon can guarantee 1 more damage. So the Black can guarantee 1 more damage if we get the golden aegis off. I think we'll go ahead and do it like this. There we go. Ooh. So he didn't have the burn that we needed. That was close. That was close. I can't believe how big that Teemo got because of the Yuumi. Teemo ended up pushing a lot of elusive damage that he couldn't handle. But yeah, GG's. Okay, so in this match we'll be going up against Draven Sion, which should actually be pretty bad for us because usually Draven Sion tends to do pretty well against like the massive kind of mid-range type of decks, right? We could keep the Pokestick to be able to kind of kill the 2-drop, the 1 health 2-drop. Grandfather Fae is nice because it gives me a unit that we can play, and we even have the Gleaming Lantern to be able to take advantage of it. So we can do the Grandfather Fae, gives us another unit that we can use next turn. Okay, he's just gonna do the Fearsome. The problem with him is that he needs to open attack with the Fearsome, because we can always just do the Hungry Owlcat and stop the Fearsome from attacking, right? Yeah, there you go. And if he does that like this, then I can just summon the Gleaming Lantern and then be able to get value from the Looping Telescope. And then next turn we can do the Mayor and kind of start doing some stuff like that. Arena Caster might actually be pretty nice. I like the Arena Caster over everything else that I saw there. And like we talked about, here we can even do Tristana instead of the Mayor. Maybe we don't want to play Tristana though, until we can level her up. I like doing the Hungry Owlcat first, then we do the Mayor. That way we take advantage of whatever we get from this. The minion is actually pretty nice, no? I guess the minion is not a Fae. I think I like the minion though. The minion also should trigger the Yodeling Arms now. It's also gonna level up Tristana here. Can attack with this, I think. Can attack with this. I guess we wanna keep a Fearsome blocker, right? So if we attack, we're just losing to like a lot of things. We can attack with the minion. I think the minion is probably the best one that we can attack with. I like this. Because I want to be able to keep my Fearsome blockers. And we can now Pokestick that guy if we feel like that's going to be a threat. And now we can summon Tristana, which is going to be leveled up. And we have the Mecha Caster. We also have the Yuumi now, that's going to cost 0. He decides to open attack, which I don't think is the right play for the opponent. Because again, now we can just Pokestick, right? I guess we could sacrifice the Grandfather Fae at this point. We don't have a lot of Fae units that we're gonna buff. I guess we could have done that. That wouldn't have been bad actually. So here we do Tristana, which is gonna be leveled up. I'm gonna present a lot of damage to him. And now each of our units is gonna have like 3 attack. Like the minion's gonna get 3 attack and impact. He won't be able to kill Tristana unless he commits like Mystic and Mystic here, or get excited plus Mystic. And we can keep her out of range of dying by doing the Yuumi attach. Okay, perfect. So now we even give her the Yuumi value. Next one we can do the Averna Mega Caster, or we can just do the minion and then be able to rally. We can do a couple of different ways. Let's do the minion first. I think we're definitely gonna rally. So let's do the minion first. We'll do the Grandfather Fae. And the reason we did the minion first there, by the way, is to take advantage of the mayor's skill. Because if we did the Grandfather Fae, then we're losing the mayor value. So we'll attack like this. We'll attack with the Tristana. We could even like potentially do the yordle in arms right here. What about we just do this? What about we just do this and attack with everything? Kind of like this. Let's just do this and attack with everything. So what he's trying to set up here is going to be a Draven spell, is what I'm thinking. Otherwise, why do it that way, right? But the Draven spell doesn't kill us, you know? So why go after the Tristana there? You lose one blocker. You lose one blocker, and you don't even get to kill Tristana, because Tristana has the quick attack. Even if you have the Draven spell, it's not enough. I guess he's trying to get all his Grenadiers, huh? He killed the Mayor here, or the Grandfather Fae. The Mayor is probably much better. Still have the rally to be able to finish him up next turn. Still loses his whole board. He has to sacrifice the Draven as well. I guess he could have the Draven spell here. Oh, Scourge Sheriff. Okay, that makes sense then. And now I understand why he did it that way. Now I see why he did it that way. Well, he's still in trouble, right? We have enough fearsome blockers. We still have a Yuumi that we can play. We have the Mecha Caster. Now we even have Ranger's Resolve. We could just force it by doing the Ranger's Resolve right here too, by the way. Don't think we need to though. I think we can just play it safe. I think we just play the Mecha Caster. Save our rally for next turn when things get buffed by the Mecha Caster. Here we can do the Hungry Owlcat. I think it's a little bit better than playing the Yuumi, because it gives us one more unit to attack with. And now we just attack with everything and win the game. Because everything has 3 attack. He only has 3 blockers. We have Ranger's Resolve. So what was that he discarded? Vision? Wow, this is like a super aggro version of the deck, huh? And we just do Ranger's Resolve to save our Mega Caster. I guess I want to make... he's going to have to be forced to commit the... I guess we still win here, right? I think we still do the Ranger's Resolve, because we have 2 of them, and we have the mana for it, to force him to have to do something else to kill this. So he's going to have to discard something in his hand with the Spinning Axe that he might not want to. Ranger's Resolve also saves against... Yeah, so this is tough for him, right? Because now... Actually, it was lethal regardless. I don't know why we did that, guys. I don't know why we did that. So it's kind of weird. Because we have the lethal anyways by just pressing OK. But I guess we can just do some fun here, right? Because now we can just rally. So why did he not commit that then? Like, we had the lethal, right? So why didn't he commit to doing that before? Like I could have just pressed OK. Like, look, he ended up getting the out, right? He ended up getting the out that he needed. We can just summon Yuumi as a normal unit, give her the buff, and then we just go run a caster again and be able to push. So that was kind of funny. We could just press OK. I got distracted because I was answering to a message on my other screen and didn't see that I could just press OK. But yeah, GG's. So in this matchup, we'll be going up against scouts. Now we have a way to go really wide with the board, and we have Buster Shots to deal with the misfortune. And there we go. We got the Buster Shot in our hand. I think it's actually worth it. I mean, now we have to click this out because we're looking for the last region, right? So we're looking for the last region to trigger our Buster Shot because we have Ionia, PNC, and Bandle City. I'm gonna do the Teemo. Let's do some damage and let's potentially level up Tristana here quickly. We could also just summon Tristana to get access to the 2-cost Buster Shot, which could be a good thing as well. If he wants to sharpside this, I'm okay with that. He decides not to. I'm gonna do the Grandfather right here, as I'll be able to have like a nice blocker. The problem is gonna be if he has exactly Misfortune right here, right? If he has exactly Misfortune. Okay. Whew. I'll take that. I think the Mayor is slightly better. Okay, here's our last region that we were looking for, right? We could also do the Scholarly Climber. I think Protopore is slightly better. We can buff it up with the Tristana, right? I guess he could do this too. So he's able to kill the Mayor now. You should always go for the Mayor here. Oh, Teemo. Interesting. I mean, okay. Grandfather is only buffing faes, and we don't really have that many faes anymore. So I think I'm okay doing this and just killing his whole board. I think the way that we're going to win this game is going to be through Tristana. Buffing our units. We have Buster Shot and Sharpshot to protect her. Because Tristana is going to be a big threat that he has to worry about, right? We get another Grandfather anyways. So I guess here's the question. Is it the Grandfather or is it the Proto? It has to be the Grandfather, right? Because it gives us access to another unit that we can play. He also has slightly more health. He levels up the Tristana no matter what. Yeah, it gives us access to another unit that we can play next turn. Hard to see. With 5 attack, there's nothing that he has with 2 mana. Actually, 6 attack. There's nothing that he has for 2 mana that can kill a Tristana. I'm going to keep my Grandfather Fae here so that we can buff up the Hungry Outcast, so I'm not going to attack with it. I guess he can kill us now with a 4 attack Petricized Brockwing, huh? Because he ended up getting the second Brockwing in his hand. Sharpsize saves her, but he could have his own Sharpsize response. Should be a little bit annoying. The Blast Conceding is pretty nice. Because we can give a barrier. And now this becomes a good blocker versus almost everything that he has. So like, yeah, he can attack. He also tapped out of mana to be able to kill the Tristana. So Tristana stays alive and we just win the game. I think we just go for this culture. I don't think we need the Mayor anymore. Yeah, I don't think we need the Mayor. I don't see how he wins with barely having anything in his hand. Because here we can just do this. Now he's only down to a Queen. We can just summon all our units right here and have a huge attack next turn. I guess we could have saved that Grandfather Mold to be able to do a little bit more damage. Because he has to block Tristana, right? So all these units are going to stay alive and then we just rally and we just win anyways. Anything he summons, we can Buster Shot it away. And that's the power of this deck. He has to block Tristana or he loses no matter what. So he has to sacrifice the Queen. He goes down to 1 HP and we have Rally to finish it up. Here we go. I'm surprised that he tapped out of enough mana. I guess he, it's very likely he didn't have Sharp Side. Like if he has Sharp Side, I don't think he taps out of the mana to use the Sharp Side to guarantee the kill on the Tristana. But yeah, GG's. So in this matchup, we'll be going up against Lurk. Okay, we do have a lot of units, right? So we have a lot of units that can block Lurk. So potentially we should be able to quote unquote trade like 1-for-1. Mayor is probably not what we want though, right? Like I think I'm willing to keep 1 Mayor in case that I completely break. Okay, so we have the Poke Stick to deal with the 1 health hatchling. It is a little bit of an aqua hand. Okay. Because I'd rather have the telescope to take advantage of the mayor. But that could also be super greedy, right? Like that cannot be right. I think that's too greedy if I do it like that. Oh, this is a good, there is a good drop, right? I like this play. We can kill this guy here. He missed Lurk. Okay, that's huge too. And that pretty much just almost guaranteed that we almost kill him, right? So here, I think the best play is actually to do Tristana. So the reason why I think it's better to do Tristana is in case he has the snap job. And because he also gives us access to the second Tristana Buster Shot for cheap. So this way we can protect against the snap job. We can just keep the Serpent here. We don't have to do anything right now with it. Guess we could get our 2 free damage right here. We could kill one of the Treasure Seekers. Like, I don't really know. I don't really think it's worth it. I think we can always save it for like a Yordle in Arms, which is gonna buff this up to 5/5 Challenger. I think we're gonna end up blocking anyways, so I guess we might as well get it now. Yeah, let's just. I guess we could also have given it a Yuumi. There's a lot of ways that we could let that Serpent survive actually. So maybe it was better to let it survive. Gleaming Lantern is pretty funny. It's a Gleaming Lantern. I don't mind the lantern. We can kill this with the Pokey Stick. Ideally, maybe. Okay. Are we willing to take this 10 damage? I guess that's the question. I guess we don't have to kill it with a Pokey Stick. We can just do Buster Shot on one of these guys. He could have the Hammer Fin, the one that gives vulnerable. I hate the fact that we didn't get advantage of the lantern this turn. Okay, it doesn't have it. So that could be a Rexa, which means that we could sacrifice a lantern into this hatchling. Don't think it's worth it. Yeah, that sounds like it's a pike then, right? So let's do this. Let's do the Yuumi on the Tristana, so that Tristana becomes bigger and bigger every turn. I guess we could do it this way too, right? The Scholarly is actually pretty big unit. I think the Kimpin is fine though. We should have done, I think we should have done the Tristana first, because we gotta survive. We gotta survive against that pike, right? So I think it was a mistake not to do the Yuumi first. Sorry. We can just do it like this though, I guess. Push the 5 damage. This is gonna continue growing. We can do the Pokey Stick on the hatchling. Try to see if we can get another Buster Shot. I guess we're gonna take the 4 damage from this guy next turn. I think it had to be Yuumi. I think it had to be Yuumi on the Tristana. Because Tristana gives... well, we got the second Buster Shot anyways. But it had to be Yuumi on the Tristana no matter what we did there. So I think that was a slight misplay on our part. He ends up not attacking with this guy, by the way. Kind of like the campaign first. Not like he's gonna trigger the Buster Shot, but it gives us a blocker for the collar. Especially if he gets greedy here and summons another unit. Doesn't do it. We can do this right here. I'm gonna greed out. I'm gonna greed it out. I like the Tanner. We could also do the Furious Fellfolk, but it's not triggered yet, right? I like the Tanner. The Tanner is better because he lets us go super wide. It will also trigger the Yordle in Arms now because we're missing one more region, right? So we could do this. And now we have Yordle in Arms trigger. He's still not close to be able to level up the pike unless he has a second pike in his hand right now, which is possible. We do the Yordle in Arms and we're pushing a lot of damage. So second pike punishes us. which he potentially could have because of the Surfside color. Doesn't look like it is the second pike, so here we can kill his whole board. I guess except for this, because this will survive. But if he blocks with the Doomkeeper, then it means that we can kill it with the Yuumi spell next turn. So I think we just swing with everything, right? So we could have Tristana here. Like, imagine if we still have Tristana alive with the Yuumi on it. Like, we could be doing so much damage with that Tristana. So that was a slight misplay on my part. I got greedy because of the Bandle City Mayor. But we have a nice enough board now, and we have ways to remove his pike, which is the only thing that worries me. It doesn't look like he got a second pike, right? Because if he got a second pike from the color predict, he wouldn't have let us get through with this Yordling Arms for free like that. He could just have a second pack in his hand, which could give him the Bone Skewer. Which is not enough still, right? Opponent might have just given up then because of the Yordling Arms. Which I think is also likely. It's kind of funny. So the Lurk player ends up giving up when we get a nice Lurk hit. I mean, a nice Yordling Arms. I think that's exactly what happened. As soon as we did the Yordling Arms, he just scooped. Funny thing is that Gleaming Lantern will have leveled up Yuumi next turn too. Yeah, GG's. I think aside from that slight misplay that we did with the Tristana and not being able to save her, because we knew the pike only had 3 attacks, so we could have actually done the Yuumi and the Tristana, make sure that she could always be out of range of the freaking pike. But yeah, GG's. So in this matchup, we'll be going up against Lulu Fizz. So this is going to be Yordling Arms, which can be pretty annoying for us to deal with. Is Yuumi actually good in this scenario? Because we want to be able to kind of go... I'm going to keep her. If worst comes to worst, we can always play her just as a straight unit. We don't have to attach her to anything. I like the rest of this hand a lot. So I don't want to discard anything here. Obviously, if we have something like Gleaming Lantern or Mayor, it would be a little bit better. But it's not the end of the world, right? Because the Grandfather Fade will allow us access to an Owlcat that can get 3 attack, so it becomes a pretty good blocker. We now also have Teemo next, so we can even do the Blast Conceding, which will be we could give a barrier if we wanted to, or we could just play Tristana and be able to buff this guys up, right? My problem with Tristana is that at 3 health, she can be a little bit vulnerable. And we also don't want to take too much attack here. So I think if it doesn't open attack, we actually do have to commit to something else here. So my concern is that if we play Tristana too early, I'm very scared that if we play Tristana too early, we're just going to get hit by a Get Excited, right? So I really don't want to have to do that. We could just threaten the Yuumi right here. But we could just play the Yuumi as it is, like I mentioned. We could also just go with the Teemo and just call it a day, right? I wanted to potentially get advantage of this guys, you know. I think we can not play Tristana until she's leveled up. We could actually give the Yuumi to the Teemo instead. I guess you can just pokey stick this right here. Okay, so that's the Get Excited. So that's exactly what we didn't play Tristana, right? So now I'm like really glad now that we ended up not committing the Tristana there. Second Yuumi is a little bit annoying. If he has a second Get Excited, I think I'm okay with that. So if he has a second Get Excited, I think now is when we're like okay with taking that. There's a lot of damage that he needs to block. Otherwise, it's just taking 4. He already has... He doesn't have... I guess he could have a PNC card anytime. So he still needs PNC to be able to trigger... the Yordling Arms, right? What I'm thinking that we're going to do is going to do the Yuumi. Okay, he can just also do that. Then we're just going to do the Yuumi and the Tristana. Make her big, make her really, really big, that the opponent cannot do anything versus her. We could have also started with the Blast Conceding, by the way. Which would have been pretty nice. Okay, now we can do the Blast Conceding. I like giving a barrier. It makes his attack really bad right here. Now, the problem that we have is that he will be able to do Yordle in Arms next turn, right? So Yordle in Arms still becomes really, really scary. We also have the Faes Brow, so potentially we can get another Fae unit right here. He's gonna have to block this girl though, right? Telescope is probably the best one, because Telescope gives us access to another unit. Like the Furious Faefolk. Do you think it's worth it? Because this is a lot. I think we need to just attack with everything. Force him to have to block everything. Oh, he's just gonna Yordle announce right now. What if we threaten? Oh, sorry. What if we threaten the Fizz skill? I don't mind losing the Yuumi. I don't mind losing the second Yuumi. She's gonna be useless. So here we can force him on spending something. Moonsilver? Okay. That's fine. I think that's alright. We just have to do this, right? He doesn't have a way to stop this. He needs to still sacrifice a unit or he's gonna start losing. If he doesn't block here, then he's trolling. Because if he doesn't block here, he's gonna just start losing to the impacts afterwards. So the Yordle in Arms stops our attack, but he doesn't kill us. And then we can just do the Blast Conceding. I guess he could have the second Yordle in Arms. But if he does, then I'm forcing him again to have another spell to be able to protect the Fizz. Is it worth it to do the second here? Let's force him to have the Mystic Shot. I guess he could still have... So he did the Moonsilver, Scraphead. I think I'm gonna commit it. I think the Elusive is way too scary. Showed us that he discarded a landmark. Yep, there we go. Bye-bye. And then we just play the Blast Conceding, which gives us a blocker. We can Buster Shot to clear the rest of his board, depending on how we block. Yeah, we can Buster Shot to clear the rest of his board. So we can do this. We can do this. We can let the Lulu live, I guess. We can kill the Lulu, or is it better to kill the Yordle Captain? Guess either one is pretty annoying, huh? Yordle Captain is better because Lulu goes back. No, because Lulu has 4 health too. I like it like this. He showed us he doesn't have another spell that he could play. And then we have a super wide open attack next turn. We can just summon the Furious Faefolk. He already used 2 Yordle in Arms. He has 1 card. He has 1 Mecha Yordle that he created. Yeah, I think we just attack with everything here. Because he's gonna have to obviously block the Tristana. But then we still do a lot of damage. If he block, yeah, he cannot block like this. Because if he blocks like this, he's gonna go down to 1. If he blocks like this, we can still do the Buster Shot. We're able to trigger the Furious Shellfolk here. I mean, sorry, Faefolk. So then we just went through the impact next turn, anyways, right? So we'll do this. Let's kill this captain. We know he has 1. The only way that he wins this deal is if the one that he got... Okay. If the one that he got was the one that like refills his whole hand. Unfortunately for us, it wasn't that one. And then there's 2 ways. I mean, now we have a way to protect against elusives. So now we summon the Faefolk. We have 4 impact here. I mean, 5 impact, 3 impact, 4 impact. There's no way that he wins, right? He already used 2 Yordle in Arms. As long as we keep one of our units alive, it's fine. Tristana is also going to have Spell Shield because the Yuumi is going to level up. And that's game. Because there's no way for him to stop the Tristana from killing him. I guess we just need to be able to not take so much damage that we die to like get excited. Yeah, there we go. GG's. Easy. Hey everybody, welcome back. Hope you enjoy those games. As you kind of got a glimpse of how this deck plays out, it's really just swarming the board and just putting a lot of pressure because of how strong the Masia can be. I guess you do have to be careful, right, that you don't run out of resources very quickly because you don't have a lot of joy in this deck except for the Pokestick. But you do have a lot of value because of how many cards you can create with Telescope and Grandfather Fate and the Bandle City Mayor and even the Faes Prow, which you know could protect you from just running out of steam very quickly. We are very vulnerable to combinations like Overwhelm or Elusive, so just be careful with that. In terms of mulligan, I always try to keep the Grandfather Fate, Mayor, Green, the Gleaming Lantern, or Tristana. So you have a lot of things that you can keep. Fate, Mayor, Lantern, Tristana, all pretty good keeps. And then the rest you just want to be able to get low-cost units that you can play on Perf. But yeah, anyways, if you enjoyed the content, please make sure to subscribe below. I also stream on Twitch at Sirturmund, where we stream 3 to 4 times a week. And you can also find us on Discord or Twitter, which you can find in the description below. I'll see you all for tomorrow's video. Have a good one.